Today in my kitchen, I'm going to be making pupusas. Right now for the pupusas, I'm making the cortado, which is the traditional coleslaw that is very well with pupusas that you can place on top of the pupusas, at the side of the pupusas, any way that you'd like it. First, I'm going to peel an onion that I've sliced in half and I cut off the ends. You do not want to eat the ends of the onion because they are, quite frankly, unedible. Now I'm going to thinly slice it. Once I've thinly sliced my onion, I'm going to place it in 8 cups of coleslaw, preferably green cabbage, with about 3 tablespoons of shredded carrots. Now I'm going to pour half a cup of organic apple cider vinegar into 1 1/3 cup of water. I'm going to pour that vinegary water into my coleslaw / cortado mixture. In my hand, I'm now going to crush up some dried up oregano and put in 2 dashes of red pepper flakes into my cortado. Now I'm going to put in 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Now that all of that is done, I'm going to mix together all of the ingredients in my cortado. Now I'm going to put a plate that covers all of my cortado and press down so that as much cortado as possible is being covered in the vinegary water. Now I'm just going to put the lid on of my bowl and put it in the fridge for 2 hours. Here I have tomatoes, onions, and a serrano chili. Depending on how spicy you like it, you may have to add either less than a serrano chili or maybe more than 1 serrano chili. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt into this, and now I'm going to blend it all together until it is the consistency of a sauce. This is going to make a salsa for our pupusas. I'm going to put some canola oil into a pan over high heat, and then I'm going to swirl it around the pan so the canola oil gets everywhere, and then I'm going to pour in our salsa from the blender. Heating it will make sure that the salsa becomes less of a pinkish color and more of a reddish color, and it will become more clear. When it is bubbling, you know that it is close to being done. Stir it around. Now, let it just sit and bubble for a while. Now I'm going to shred some pork into a pan with some canola oil in it and stir it around until the pork is nice and brown. The pork that I'm adding in here is pre-cooked. Make sure that your pork is pre-cooked before doing this. Now, in a blender, blend together some beans until it makes a very pasty-ish consistency that is very smooth. Here in the video, we did not blend our beans as much as we needed to. Now, with the same amount of canola oil, except a little bit more, I'm going to pour in my beans from the blender and cook them on the pan until they are thicker and of a lighter color. This will make our refried beans. Now I have 4 cups of masa harina, which I'm going to pour in some hot water. Then I'm going to mix together the masa harina and the water until it is a dough texture. First, I'm going to use a spatula, then I'm going to use my hands. If you did not pour enough water into your masa harina now, you can always add more. But make sure to do little by little because you do not want to add too much water into your masa harina so that your masa harina dough becomes too watery. Now, when you're done, roll your dough into a ball and place 1 wet paper towel over it. Now, cut a bag along its 2 sides like I am doing now. The zipper part on the top of the bag you are also going to have to cut off, but do not cut off the bottom of the bag. The bag that I'm using is a quart-sized Ziploc bag. This quart-sized bag will be more of a guidance for when you flatten out your pupusas for how big they will be. I'm going to take a regular-sized ice cream scoop of the dough with a flat top, as you can see, and then I'm going to lay it onto one side of my plastic bag. I'm going to flatten it down a little bit. Now I'm going to fold the other side of the plastic bag on top of that side and press it down with a clear pie pan. You want your pie pan to be clear so that you can see how thin your pupusa dough is getting. You want your pupusa dough to be very thin, but not see-through thin. Have an oiled pan at the ready. Take your disc of dough that you have just made and place it on a plate. Then take another flat scoop of dough, flatten it out a little bit, place it back on your bag, flip the bag over, and press it down with your clear pie plate until it is as flat as your other. Now I'm going to take my refried beans and spread them out on my pupusa masa harina dough, like pizza kind of. And then on top of that, I'm going to sprinkle a bunch of shredded mozzarella cheese and some cotija cheese. Now I'm going to take the disc of pupusa dough that I had recently made and place it on top of the one with cheese and beans on it. I'm going to press down on the corners take my flap of bag and place that over it, and then I'm going to flatten it out with my clear pie dish. Now my pupusa is all flattened, and I'm just going to press down on all the edges even more so that none of the mixture spills out. Now I'm just going to cook my pupusa on my oiled pan with canola oil until it is all cooked and the cheese is melted and there are small little kind of brown patches on each side. Now I'm going to repeat the process by making a pork pupusa. I'm going to flatten out both discs, then I'm going to place my pork onto one of them. Remember, they're only 1 scoop big. Then I'm going to place some of my cheese on them, place the other disc on top, flatten it out with my clear pie dish, and then I'm going to flatten all of the edges and corners so that nothing leaks out, cook it, and I've made my pupusas. Here is my bean and cheese pupusa and my pork pupusa all cooked and ready. For this recipe and more, visit myclasscancook.com.